Friends, I greet you all this evening in the wonderful name of our Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. I would like to welcome everyone who has taken the time to join us this evening. It is a teaching series as discern people who can serve in the space of class leaders in the society, and therefore this is their training. But we found it prudent that everyone, as much as possible, be part of the space so that we can be built up together. So thank you so much and welcome to everyone who is here. A special welcome to Umfundisi Dlamini. The Reverend P Dlamini is the one who will be leading our session today, as he will be leading our session on the historical and intention of the class system in the Methodist movement. Umfundisi P Dlamini is a brother. He is the superintendent of the Mpangeni Circuit. He is beyond capable, one of the very gifted ministers of our connection. And it is a pleasure to have him in our midst, that he comes and shares his gifts with us and lends a hand in the building up of the Church of Christ here in the Rosebank Society. And so with those words, friends, I welcome everyone, and I welcome especially Umfundisi Dlamini. And with that, on that note, I would like to then call us to a word of prayer. Let us pray. And so, loving God, we come before you this evening with praise and thanksgiving, thanking you, loving God, for this day that you had given to us, and for the moments of this day in which we experienced your grace and presence amongst us. We also thank you even for the challenging moments of the day, because you came alongside us with your strength and you helped us to navigate the challenging moments of this day. As this day comes to an end, we are in awe of your grace, of your love. And as we settle into this session, we pray, loving God, for your presence, that your Holy Spirit may accompany us in this next hour. Bless your servant, Umfundisi Dlamini, as he prepares to lead us, and bless us, our hearts and our ears, that we may carefully receive what you have deposited in the heart of your servant. And so we commend this next hour to your love and to your grace. And this we ask in the name of Christ our Lord. Amen. So, friends, I remind us, those who are just joining us, that if we have questions as the minister is teaching, we can use the chat function. If we are in Zoom, we can use the chat function to write our questions or comments, and Brother Izu will pick those up, and Umfundisi will then be able to respond to those at the end of his presentation. If we are watching on Facebook, we can write our questions on the chat on Facebook, and even there, Brother Izu will be able to pick those up for Umfundisi to respond to as well. If particularly our class leaders who are being trained feel that the question is better asked, they can raise their hands up at the end when Brother Izu is going to be handling the question and answer session. Thank you so much. We then give over and hand over to Umfundisi Dlamini to lead us. Thank you, friends.
Greetings, friends, Reverend Tombela, and leaders of the Rosebank Methodist Church, fellow Methodists who are tuning in to this session. Can I just check, am I audible? Thank you. I want to also greet those who are admins at the Wesley Guild SA page. Everyone this evening who is hearing my voice, friends, good evening. Matthew 28, verse 19. Go then to all people everywhere and make them my disciples. Baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teach them to obey everything I have commanded you. And I will be with you always to the end of age. This is the word of God. Now, friends, we are here to not do a Bible study, but to speak on the history and intention of the class system in the Methodist movement. But I want to use this text as a framework to what I will contribute later as intention for the class meeting, and I hope as I explain the history behind the class system, you will get to understand how a text such as this one is relevant. Now, many of you would know the genius behind what is known as the Wesleyan movement, and that is John Benjamin Wesley, the son of Samuel and Susanna Wesley, who are 18th century English people belonging to the Church of England, the High Church. And Wesley is named as one of the fathers of Methodism, and those who study history will know that the Methodist movement or the Wesleyan movement was not the work of a single person, but a result of a collaboration of various minds, including his brother Charles and the well-known fired-up preacher George Whitefield. But it seems Wesley usually stumbled upon ideas, ideas that become the center of Wesleyanism and of Methodism. It doesn't seem, and if you read history, it doesn't seem like Wesley had sat and thought and meditated on these ideas. He appears to have stumbled upon these ideas. And a good example is the idea of lay ministry. Those who know the history of Wesley, he had used many lay people as his assistants, Joseph Humphreys and many others. But to recognize lay preaching as something important to the Wesleyan movement seems to be something that happened upon him. He did not really think about that. And it is said that in late 1742, when he had left a young Thomas Maxfield in charge of the society in London and went on his usual preaching journeys. And on his way back, a complaint was written by some Methodists about this young, fired up preacher who they thought was trying to usurp John Wesley, and they really planted the idea in his head of someone trying to take over. And the famous story is that his mother then, whilst he's still hot under the collar and wanting to go and stop this young man and reprimand him, his mother sits him down and has a chat with him, and says, "Man, if anything, this young man seems to be preaching exactly what you are also preaching. He seems to be used by God in the same way that God has used you." And his mother convinced him, the story goes, that to sit and listen to this man. And therefore, the birth of lay preaching in the Methodist, or what was then known the Wesleyan movement, started to find ground. But it was not an idea that he had, thought about. And so the class meeting, as you will learn also, is not an idea that Wesley, had sat and thought about and meditated and prayed to God to reveal to him a system that would work for him to maintain and teach people about discipleship. No, he stumbled upon the idea, as he did with many others. Now, it is important, however, when you speak about the class meeting, you speak about 18th century England, so that you then get to see how this class meeting found root amongst those that Wesley had preached to. Now, 18th century England, particularly around the time when Wesley was doing his ministry, was really the real beginning of the Industrial Revolution. And those who study this era will speak about how it was a great era of discovery. However, it was also a great era of neglect of the well-being of people. And those who study the period will speak about how great technological advances led to poverty, also led to inequality. I mean, with with industrialization and the use of technology and the replacement of the workforce with machines can seem to, lead to neglect of the human agent. And this era was such an era where those who were farm workers, were now finding themselves to be out of employment, and those who had worked fields for a living were now, especially during the time of the drought that happened in the mid-1700s, to be unable to maintain or sustain their farming endeavors. And so it was an era where any service to people from the church, sort of always went from the pulpit to the pews and never left the church building. And so Wesley in Oxford starts a group Bible study as he was a student there. He starts a group of prayer and Bible study with some of his friends. And what they realize is that the church seems to be ignoring the economic climate of the area, and therefore ignoring those who are poor and those who are living in the subways in squalor. And so Wesley decides to target, in a way, those that he believes, or those that seem to be far from the service of the church. And so he goes to the poor, and he goes to visit the prisoners, and his conviction, any Methodist who says they know Wesley, you would hear them say, there is no holiness but social holiness. And so, because Wesley believed that those people that the church is not serving also deserve to be served. And so, though the Wesleyan movement then attracts from 18th century England those who are outcasts, those who are in the margins, those who are down trodden. And these are people who some have decided to live a life of drunkenness. And this is why in the Methodist Church, in case you're wondering, that is why in the Methodist Church we don't drink alcoholic wine. Wesley advised strongly against strong drinks, even though himself he did partake in moderation in the consumption of wine here and there, but advised strongly against the use of alcohol. And so, because this movement had attracted those who were struggling with alcoholism and who had seen themselves as outside the church. Now, when you bring a group of people like that together, what does the life of that movement look like? Well, for Wesley, it was really a challenging a crowd to deal with, and at most he himself hardly knew what to do with the crowd. And then, but the fact remains that the movement was growing so much so that Wesley would go into his own pockets to even purchase buildings and take loans also, and speak to his connections, particularly those who are well off, who found the Wesleyan movement attractive. He would try to solicit funds from those people. And so in around 1742, the Wesleyan movement was really indebted, because of a loan that had to be taken for the society in Bristol, and Wesley had to try and find a way of how to pay this loan off. And on the 15th of February in 1742, he calls a society meeting to really speak about how do we pay this loan, how do we and how do we continue to maintain this building, because much as the Wesleyan movement was able to grow, it needed space where it could function. Though some of you know about the foundry that Wesley had also raised funds, purchased, some from his own money, some from friends as well. And so it was a norm for Wesley to try, wherever a society was established, to somewhat acquire a building so that Methodists would be able to have a space where they worship. And of course, that's because so these Methodists were not appealing to the Church of England, and so the parishes in England at this time were not accessible to those who were part of the Wesleyan movement, and so there was a need for Wesley to make sure that he tries to find spaces and housing for the Methodist movement. So on that day, on the 15th of February in 1745, sorry, 1742, Wesley, after the society meeting, a Captain Foy comes to him, who was a seaman. He says to him, "Man, look, if you could, this society was around 62 people, and he says, if you could put people into groups, maybe of 10s, maybe of 12, and ask that each person gives a penny a week." And he says, and if you give to me 10 of or 12 of these people, I would help if they find themselves falling short of what is asked of them. So if they can't give a penny a week and there's a shortfall, so Captain Foy says to him, I will make sure that I cover whatever is lacking. So Wesley sees this, and he speaks to other society leaders. They also volunteer to do the same as Captain Foy had committed or volunteered to do. And really the intention of these groups of 10 or 12 was to raise funds for the building in Brussels. And it is after the society leaders started the work of fundraising and speaking to people about the 1 penny a week. It is after they started speaking to people that they realized that this is a bigger opportunity than just fundraising. They realized that it was a bigger opportunity. There was a bigger opportunity that was provided by these groups than just collecting the 1 penny or whatever a person could give. And so they go to Wesley, and they speak to him about how about we use this group to further have accountability amongst those who are Methodists. And so it was a system where, one, there was a need for funds. However, it became a system where those who participated in the class saw a need to carry each other's burdens and make sure that no one gets left behind. And that must have been a really positive thing for those who were Methodists at this time, because you started to see those who worship together helping each other to carry each other's burdens. And so the class system did not start as a discipleship group, but started from the need to raise funds. And that's something we cannot run away from. That's why I say Wesley stumbles upon ideas, and really those ideas become the core of what the Wesleyan movement and the Methodist Church is. But it was also an evangelical tool. This is very important. The class meeting also became an evangelical tool in between 1742 and 1743. One of the societies in London grew exponentially. Over 500% from the time it started the class meeting to 18 months later. There was a 500% growth in membership from 62 to around 2,200 members. And so you found that this system it also became an evangelical tool, but it was also a system that helped to maintain new converts. And George Whitefield, Wesley's friend, who later leaves Wesley because he felt that the small groups and the way Wesley was conducting societies was not for him. He was an open air preacher, dramatic preacher, but later he admits that the work that he did really did not catch on because it did not focus on maintaining the new converts. I mean, if you think about it, if you go, I stay in Mbangini, if I go to the streets in Mbangini and preach, and then I pick up my sound box and put it in the boot of my car and come back to Eskawini, where are those people I am preaching to going to go to? Which church are they going to attend? And so George Whitefield found that Wesley's Methodist movement grew exponentially as a result of these class meetings. Now, originally, what was happening in these class meetings? I did mention that Wesley had attracted, the really what Frantz Fanon calls the wretched of the earth, and I say that with all positive connotations. So Wesley had attracted the wretched of the earth, the uncultured, the unclean, the unholy, those struggling with addiction, those who live in poverty, coarse and rough people, and so Wesley, coming himself from the Puritan tradition that his mother and his mother Susanna, her father Samuel, and he himself had been introduced, to the Puritan tradition, had emphasized holiness. And so in class meetings, this space that started as a fundraising initiative became an effective space for making disciples. The well-known question amongst Methodists is, how is it with your soul? And yes, this was an important question in the class meeting because it was important for Wesley that the soul remains pure. And this was not the only question. There were other questions like, what known sin have you committed since we last met? And what temptations have you been met with? How were you delivered? What have you thought, said, or done that you do not think is a sin? So all these questions where would be asked to each member, and each member in the class meeting would then respond according to what they had faced. And so the goal of the class moved from being a fundraising system, but to be a personal holiness and communal accountability encouraging system. So it became a place where people were now able to support each other, and strive towards the holiness that Wesley taught. It was a space where people started to come together and help each other to carry each other's burdens. And so the class meeting, and it's important for those who are to lead classes to understand that the class meeting is not there to speak only about planned giving. The class meeting is there to help those whose strength is failing. It's there to help those who struggle with temptation. It is a system that is supposed to encourage those whose faith is found wanting. And so when we approach the class system, I think it's important, when we go back to the origins of the class meeting, we understand what these questions meant. And there would be another question that says, have you nothing you desire to keep secret? And I find this one would be the most tricky one for any of us to answer in our class meetings today, because I know that people have a lot of secrets they want to keep. But the intention also of this question may have been that you don't carry burdens alone. The intention of this question is that whatever is bothering you, let us help you with it. And so it was not a space, and I wish class leaders would understand this. It is not a space where we judge each other, but it is a space where we support and help each other to carry each other's burdens. And so I want to bring this to a close and make a case for the class meeting today. And just say these words, friends. Without the class meeting, Methodism collapses. I think it's important that we understand this, and the class meeting has definitely evolved. I mean, the world has evolved since 18th century England, but what has remained the same is that people of faith still need to be supported in their faith journeys. What has not changed is that people of faith still need to encourage each other in their faith journey. And so what has, and I hear that many people have spoken about the challenges faced by the church today. But I want to believe that if we were to go back to the true essence of the class meeting, we would be able to recover not only our identity as Methodists, but also to recover the Methodist movement and recover the Methodist Church. Because without the class system, it is my belief that the Methodist Church would collapse. I mean, Wesley experiences his second conversion in May or in 1738. And 4 years after that, when the class meeting starts, and some say that what he experienced in 1738 it's his evangelical conversion. But 4 years after that evangelical conversion, Wesley started to see the Wesleyan movement grow in leaps and bounds. And his not adversary as such, but his friend George Whitfield agreed and said, "Man, you have something that works here. When you bring these people into these small groups and have these accountability questions, have these encouragement questions, and have these questions where you try to support each other, you're doing something that is guaranteed to maintain new converts." And so, and it speaks without it goes. I mean, it goes without saying that later movements, you know, emulated the class system. And growing up in Umlazi, many charismatic and evangelical churches and Pentecostal churches in Umlazi had what was called cell groups. And every time someone spoke about a cell group, I said, "Do you know where that comes from? That comes from the founder of the Wesleyan movement, the man named to be," and these people went to these, and it's amazing to see how this system that Wesley just happened to stumble upon came to influence the Wesleyan movement and other movements later. And it is almost guaranteed, friends, that when we use the class system for what it is intended for, by all means, there would be growth in the church. I mean, some of the challenges that we have, and I would speak as now a minister in the Methodist Church of Southern Africa. Some people don't even want to be asked, "Who is your class leader?" Because that in and of itself is an accountability question. There has been debates about what is a member in good standing, and what does it mean to be a member in good standing. And when you bring that up as a minister, you are always seen to be trying to alienate certain people. But the truth of the matter is that being a member in good standing in the Methodist Church means you have a class that you belong to, and you are not just a free floating Methodist who is a Methodist when they choose, or who is a Methodist because they wear a certain uniform. And so it's important for us to understand that the class meeting is the beginning for all Methodists. You can't be a Methodist and not have a class. Now, as to what happens in the class, that is really entirely left in the class. I've also spoken a lot about how the class meeting is a space where no one gets left behind. Captain Foy says to Wesley, "Put us in a group. Let each give a penny. Those who can't give, I will cover them." So Foy doesn't say, put us in a group, ask us to give a penny each a week, and those who can't give, we exclude them. No. He says, those who cannot give, then I will contribute. Those who can give more, let them give more, so that we're able to carry each other. And I want to assure you that if we were to have the same attitude when it comes to the class meeting, the Methodist Church as we have it today could be transformed greatly. And we would cease to have Methodists who do harm, because one of the things that Wesley believed was related to holiness, it was doing good. Wesley emphasized at all times, and class leaders in 18th century England emphasized that each person has to do good. And remember, he was speaking to this group that was unrefined, seemingly, coarse, and whose tongues were quite sharp. But they were taught that what you say should not harm. What you do should not harm. Even your thoughts should not be harmful thoughts. And so, because we don't have class systems now, we have people who can easily spew out harmful things. We have people who can easily engage in activities that harm other people, that harm the church. And so the failures of the church today to adhere to the original class meeting is a result of what we have now as the church. And so I want to close with that the class meeting is very relevant today, because then we would have a space for all Methodists to account, a space where all Methodists are encouraged, and a space where all Methodists are helped to carry their burdens. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rev Dlamini, for this insightful seminar on the system. So right now I will open up for questions. I see we do have one question from Brother Sibia. Brother Sibia, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Oh, thank you. Am I audible, Is?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you very much. And I thought you would just read the questions since I wrote it on the chat. But Mfundisi, thank you very much. I was just interested in what I would say is there maybe sometimes, especially in the context of us in the MCSA, an overlap or sometimes competition between classes and mission groups such as YMG, Wesley Guild, noting that people usually belong to a mission group and also a class. So in terms of the work that they do, between umkhokheli and your chairperson in your society, isn't there sometimes an overlap or even competition? And how then as class leaders and society leaders maybe can we move around that? Ngiyabonga.
Am I going to take one each question, or we ask people to? Because I just saw another one in the chats.
Yes. How would you want this to be done? Do you want us to go directly with maybe taking a few questions?
Maybe let's take three at a time.
Okay, 3 at a time. Okay, perfect.
So there's already a question from Ayanda in the group chat. How do we create a space of spiritual accountability in a class system without it turning into a space where people are held accountable for their attendance and giving? Because in some instances, class leaders fall into the trap of only making it about giving and not spiritual accountability. So that's question number 2.
Do we have one last more question? One last more question in this round? You could either lift your hand or type it in the chat. Just 1 second or two. I think, Rev, these are the two questions that we have in this round.
Thank you. Sure. It seems as with everything, we do take a good thing and turn it into, I don't know, mission groups. It's true that mission groups are becoming rogue movements, in the Methodist Church. I hope I'm using the right word there. But they seem to becoming, rogue movements. And I don't think that the intention was for them to become that. Within the Wesleyan movement, and I think this is important. I find it interesting. Joseph Humphreys, young helper to Mr. Wesley, fine preacher, had what they called, Wesley had allowed what was called bands. And Joseph Humphreys' band was one of the most brilliant bands that the Wesleyan movement had. And Wesley himself, in his diaries, in his journals, speaks about Joseph Humphreys' band, and he applauds how well they do ministry, how well they preach. These young men who seem to be even good at exegeting the text. Wesley speaks about that. But Humphreys had never seen himself as competition to Wesley, and Wesley had never thought of Humphreys as a threat to the Wesleyan movement. And so mission groups should not be a church within the church, and they shouldn't, I don't think the Methodist Church sees them as a threat. But once we start to see them as a parallel church to the churches we have, that's where our problems begin. Bands allowed the work that Wesley was doing to thrive in areas where Wesley himself couldn't reach for any other reasons. The bands were there to cover, the gaps where the Methodist movement couldn't reach. And however, the societies where these bands belonged to, where the places where everyone met. So just because a person was in a band, it didn't mean that they were no longer part of the society. And so the idea of mission groups, and I want to believe, and I mean, a good example being the Wesley Guild, which traces its origins also, in England. The idea around mission groups is that we have a system that helps the system. So mission groups are not systems in themselves. They are not a church on their own. Awukhonza amadodana, awukwazi ukuthi kuthiwa ukhonza ukuthi ngikhonze emadodaneni. It even sounds wrong saying it, but we have seen, and many would agree that we have seen many people who don't go to church on Sunday, who don't partake in communion, But when there is a YMG Tsugutane, as we had in the past weekend, they're there. If there is even in the circuit, you see them during Easter convention, they are there in their YMG uniform. And some even go as far as making sure that their membership in the YMG is okay, but in the church, they are nowhere. You know, I always describe a member in good standing in this way. One, it has to be somebody who attends worship, because a Christian is a person who stays in fellowship with God and others. So you have to go to church if you call yourself a Christian. Secondly, you have to partake in the means of grace. So you have to receive communion. And if you are not receiving communion in your home society, where are you receiving communion? Because your minister should know where you are receiving communion. So when your minister doesn't see you on Sunday, he should be worried that you are probably not partaking in the sacraments. So if you are, for you to be a member in good standing, you also have to be someone who partakes in the sacraments. You have to attend, and as the Methodist rule of life, to all God's ordinances. You have to do no harm. You have to do good at all times. And so when we then speak about giving, it's just one thing, one requirement in the whole list of things. I mean, I can count 10 things that will make you a member in good standing, but giving is just one of them. And so, and that's because giving was not the only prerequisite to becoming a member of the Wesleyan movement. We have lost it if we convince people that the only way for you to become a member is through giving. But also, giving does help, and as Wesley had seen the need to bring the society together to talk. It was to pay off a loan that was used to purchase the building. It was also to raise funds for the maintenance of the building. It was also to fund the Wesley's work in preaching. And so money is necessary. It's part of what, and that is why I always applaud old people, because they understand that better than us young people, that the church does not run on air. And so when we speak about being a member in good standing, some people would rather give in the YMG but not give in the church, and create a parallel structure in the church. So now the second question is something similar. How do we ensure that classes are places of spiritual accountability and not places of accounting for your attendance and giving? Well, if you don't want to ask why you're not going to church, why are you even a Christian? Because I mean, Christians go to church. Christians go to worship. Christians meet in fellowship. So if you are not attending church, and if you are not attending your class meeting, then how are you growing? How does the church account for your growth? And so I don't think classes are places where we only deal with the register and then people depart. If we do it the same way it was intended, I think the issue of attendance then becomes, a non-starter issue in the class meeting. If we use the class meeting for spiritual growth, if we use the class meeting to encourage each other in the faith journey, if we use the class meeting to help each other carry each other's burdens, then we shouldn't really be asking the question about how do we ensure the class meetings become, spaces of spiritual accountability. Class meetings have to emphasize holiness. Class meetings have to emphasize also the ability or emphasize the benefits that come with us giving as a group. And Wesley is known to have coined a wonderful statement about earning as much as you can, saving as much as you can, and also giving as much as you can. And so that is this core of being a Methodist. But I know we now have Methodists who don't want to go to church and who don't want to give. And that's another story for another day.
That is an interesting comment, Reverend. Are there any more questions? So those that are joining us on Facebook, you are free to type in the comment section on Facebook, and I'll be able to spotlight your question or read the question on your behalf to the Reverend. To those that are in the room, do we have any more questions? Feel free to raise your hand or type in the chat. There's nothing that's coming through on. Yes, Lele, I see your hand. You are free to unmute.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mfundisi. This is a difficult question to ask because it needs me to provide context, and we don't have time for that. How do we as a church teach the things that you are speaking about without us having to be in a 1-hour session? How do we sustain the learnings? Because my struggle with the church is the way in which the missions within the church, and this is my personal view, judge people and exclude people. I always refer to the woman with the alabaster box, and it's contrary to what Jesus did during that moment. And we have ways in our church that exclude people because they do not meet certain criteria. And I think some people actually don't come to church because they feel judged. We all sinners. But if you do not, the tenets of Methodism, I think, are not known by everybody. And unfortunately, people who make judgments also do not understand the tenets of what Methodism is and what Methodism is about. And that exclusion is what keeps people away from church. Yeah. And it's not just, RMC or whatever, it's everywhere. I think it's all churches. I sometimes feel like I don't want to go to church because I don't want to be scared of God. I want to go to church because I want to know what God can do for me, not how God is going to punish me because I'm a sinner. I know I'm a sinner. And so I choose to stay at home because my relationship with God that is private, it's such a beautiful relationship. When I go to church, I'm told that I'm going to get punished. And not just church, even the missions that you're speaking about, that then people choose, I don't have a problem with God, so let me and my God sit in my lounge and speak privately. Thank you.
Thank you, Sis Lele.
We do have one more hand from Sis Brenda.
Okay.
Brenda, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Mfundisi, for such an informative session. I think for me, the question that I would love to ask is Rosebank, particularly, and I guess that's why Reverend Ndombela saw it fit that it's important we start having this conversation and for us to understand, because it's been a struggle with the Rose Bank to try to develop such structures that exist to all other churches. I mean, sonke sisonta phaa Rose Bank. If I go to other places and they ask you what class, we never had class system. And the reason being is we have a community that is not the community of Rose Bank. We have a community where it's a home that keeps abantwana from different backgrounds, or young professionals or young families that are here for work. So in terms of sustainability, that's where we are struggling with. So there is a minority of us that are still here. And I'm sure some of us, we will go as well. But then how do we maintain a system that is going to be sustainable to make sure that every generation that comes, as we get older, and the ones that comes behind as well, to say, okay, it is a home away from home, because they go to either Teguini or Eastern Cape or Joburg because they're from there, or they come late when the school starts. So we're getting different groups, which I think we're fortunate, but how do we create that sustainability for such community that we know that they commute, they come, they go, but then the ones that stay. And I think that's where Rose Bank needs help with, and in terms of creating that home and for those that are still around to hold that space. But I just need to know, how are we going to move forward after this seminar? For me, it's about implementation and the sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you, Sis Brenda, for that question. Brother Ayanda, or I did see that your hand was up. Is that a legacy hand, or would you like to come through? Okay, I think that was a legacy hand. Are there any more questions? Any more questions? I think, Reverend, those are the two questions that we have.
Thank you.
Each day of the year, down to 0. What started a small win?
Okay. Sis Lele, the church is it's can you please Nasipi mute?
Okay. June 30, yeah, the leaders. You don't know mute.
Thank you. Sis Lele, the church, with all its problems and its shortcomings, it remains the church. It remains a spiritual home. And I'm always saddened when I hear people's experiences that are not pleasant in the church. When we come to church, many of us are just expecting to be spiritually revived and go home. And really, some people I've seen that's what they do. They come to church, worship, go home. Don't go to class meetings, don't go to mission groups. have no spaces of accountability, because for them that's easier. But I wish as Christians, we would grow spiritually and arrive at a point where we are able to embrace even the repugnant amongst us, even those that we can't stomach, even those that we by all means, our whole system repels. And I'm saying this because in that way, and this is where then Jesus' word, love your neighbor, love your enemies, and pray for your enemies, and pray for those who do you harm. If a person strikes you on the left cheek, you give them the right. This is not a docile Christianity, but it is radical Christianity. Radical Christianity is the kind of Christianity that is not frustrated by anyone. A follower of Christ, a radical follower of Christ, can stand in a room full of gossipers or gossip mongers and still say, I follow Christ. And that is the beauty of radical Christianity. And Wesley himself had to learn this, He had people he found, and those who know the story when he went to America, and there was a lady he had been courting and wanted to marry him, but she decided to marry somebody else because he was busy with his work. Wesley got angry, decided to refuse her communion. There's a story that goes that then her uncle, who was the count of the area, wanted Wesley's head for that, and Wesley fled and went back to England. But we as Christians need to learn that those who speak ill and judge us are God's people just as well. And radical Christianity and radical love is the kind of love that loves those who curse you, that loves those who oppress you. And it doesn't mean that you don't tell them, you tell them when they do you bad, and you say, I love you, but I don't like what you're doing. And so private spirituality is important. And the class meeting also emphasized personal holiness. It was a good space to emphasize personal holiness. But the personal holiness doesn't equate to private, spirituality. And so, yes, it is easier and perhaps more peaceful to stay in your corner, and not come together to meet the good, the bad, and the ugly, But I promise you, it is radical Christianity that says, even though I walk in the valley of the shadow of gossip mongers, I shall fear no evil. In fact, I will wear my makeup and heels and come and sit here and let them speak, So we need to grow spiritually to get to that point as Christians and as Methodists. And so my prayer to you, my sisters, that you strive towards that, and I hope that every Methodist strives towards that, and so that and Christian education, and another part of how do we make sure we don't limit this to an hour, I applaud Reverend Tombela. I applaud the Wesley Guild SA for providing such platforms, and I do believe that there are other, historians who can come and contribute on the same subject, even more than I did. And if we make a habit of having such classes, I think we would be ensuring that Christian education happens at all levels. And so it is really, good to participate in this. And I also want to believe that this is now going to be the culture. Knowing Reverend Tombela, this is going to be the culture of Rosebank, with Christian education is continuous. There was then a question about sustaining a spiritual home where everyone, well, a spiritual home that is nobody's home. That's what Rosebank is. It's a home that is nobody's home, and most circuits, especially those that are known as central circuits in our connection, have a similar challenge where its membership, is fleeting, not because they are fleeing from anything, but they are in transit, and so what the fourth industrial revolution has done for us is amazing in terms of making the connection so small. Platforms like this one bring us together from all corners of the connection, and we come around and sit and speak about a subject, such as this one. And so I don't doubt I don't doubt that this is the first of many, and however, the idea of connectionality should ease our anxiety of sustainability. So we are a connectional church, and the seed that Reverend Tombela plants in Rosebank might be watered somewhere in Lukanji Circuit, and the fruits might be experienced by someone in Pretoria Central. And so that is the nature of some of these stations and some of these homes that are no one's home. What I can advise you, and those of you who are in Rosebank and those who know that they are in transit, make the best of the time you spend in that home that is not your home. And I think we then would not have to worry about sustainability. And hopefully the idea such as this one spreads throughout the connection, and ministers in our connection start to emphasize and take control of Christian education.
Thank you, Reverend, for that response. I am very mindful of time. I did see one hand from Ayanda again. Would you want to take less than 30 seconds, or should we proceed? Ayanda? Okay. I believe we should proceed. So, Reverend, I have asked someone to give a vote of thanks. So I'm going to spotlight Sister Edina Mamposa da Costa to just give us a vote of thanks. Then I'll hand over to Reverend Tombela to give the final sort of announcements and so on over the series that we have. So, Sister Edina.
Thank you so much, Brother Izu. I think it's a bit of an understatement to say that this has been a rich learning experience, and it has really set the tone for this series. I personally came to this with a blank slate, and I'm pleased to say that I leave this better informed and empowered, and I think many on the various platforms this evening would say the same. And so we greatly appreciate most especially the historical perspectives and the methodism and underpinnings that have led to the establishment of the classes. You've given us much to think about and much to pray on as the appointed class leaders and many others within the church explore how they can better engage and deepen their role, not just in the church, but also in the immediate societies that we serve. So Reverend Dlamini, on behalf of all those joining this evening, we want to say a massive thank you for committing your time and sharing these very important insights with us. And we pray that God richly bless you and continue to use you within similar spaces. I think it's also apt to just say a special thank you to Rev Ntombela and all the people who have been actively working in the background to make this series possible. This has been fantastic. And lastly, also a thank you to those who have joined us across the different platforms and have made this a very engaging and interactive session. So thank you very much, and back to you, Brother Izu.
Thank you for that, Sister Idina. Reverend Ntombela, over to you.
Friends, thank you so much for making.
Rev, I think your network is failing up.
And so I do not take for granted the fact that we are able to come.
Are we able to hear Reverend Ntombela? Is it my network?
No, he's frozen.
He's frozen.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Not anymore. I think it's
Okay.
not.
No, I wanted to, as I was saying, to give to come and meet and do this important work. If not, Brother Izu, can you just please close in prayer and ask Rev Dlamini to give a benediction? If not, just please give notices if I'm struggling.
No, we can hear you now. We can hear you perfectly fine. Yes.
I'll just be quick because I'm not sure how this network is going to hold up. Friends, we are going to continue our sessions every Thursday, same time. Next week, we will be engaging the class leader as a shepherd. And so we will continue here on this platform for around 4 weeks in deepening our knowledge about classes and why they are so important, that as a Methodist people, we all belong to classes. And so thank you to everyone. Thank you to Umfundisi Dlamini, and thank you for engaging Umfundisi. It is my prayer that we all leave today enriched. Bless you all and God keep you all. And so as we close the session for today, I invite all of us to share in the words of benediction. So here, even if we are meeting, virtually, we all share in the words of benediction. So I invite all of us to unmute where we are so that we may all share together in the words of benediction. And so, friends, I invite us. And now, may the grace of our Lord Jesus
Lord
Christ,
Jesus Christ
the
and
love
the
of God,
fellowship
and the fellowship of the Holy
that
Spirit
Amen.
be with us all now and
Now
forevermore.
Amen.
forevermore. Amen.
friends, God bless you all and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Nkosi.